Hello everyone, and welcome to Steam Engine 13, coming to you from the Neville Public Museum. Steam Engine is an event series highlighting interesting topics delivered through the lens of our STEAM disciplines: science, technology, engineering, the arts, and mathematics. What I'm saying is Steam Engine is just a cool platform to showcase cool people doing cool stuff. Steam Engine is a platform for locals to just discuss their ideas. So if you have an idea that you want to see elevated and discussed, please share it with us. Head to our webpage at steamenginegb.com to share your idea with us. So all of this is made possible because of our incredible sponsors. Big thank you to all of you, starting with our title sponsor, US Venture. Fox Communities Credit Union, Northeast Wisconsin Technical College, St. Norbert College, Schneider School of Business, and University of Wisconsin-Green Bay. Big thank you to all of you. 2021 is well on its way, coming for us. We're already developing great content, and we're looking for a new title sponsor. So if you, your business, your organization, your group of best friends is looking for a new project to support, consider supporting Steam Engine Green Bay. On to Steam Engine 13. The event theme is social justice. Tonight we're talking about fairness in terms of access to opportunities. These can be opportunities to wealth, education, home ownership, or just basic survival. Over the past year, the greater Green Bay area has reached a critical mass of voices discussing social justice topics. Now, although conversations about justice are hundreds of years old in our country, it is more recent that our community at large has begun to unpack the terms and the impacts of social, political, and economic mechanisms that perpetuate disparities. These disparities include gaps in education achievement, access to homeownership, equal pay, and disproportionate health outcomes. Social justice is impacted by multiple factors on multiple fronts, and the fight for it will leave lasting images for generations to come. I know all of that was a mouthful and a brainful, and that's why we have three fascinating presenters, all experts in their fields, to help us think through social justice. We've had the honor of sitting down with Angel Saavedra Cisneros, Jonathan Dunbar, and Shea Correa to discuss social justice through the work that they do. You're probably viewing from the sanctity of your own space, so feel free to laugh, cry, shout, or just sit totally stone-faced while you digest these conversations with our presenters. Hopefully you've got some questions too, and since we're in a new format and we're streaming this video on Facebook, you have the opportunity to comment and ask questions throughout the presentation. The guests will join us live after the video to answer your questions and respond to your comments. When you add a comment or ask a question, you will automatically be entered in a drawing for a free Steam Engine t-shirt, just like that, designed and printed by local Bay Area artists. So without further ado, Steam Engine 13. Shea Correa is an award-winning photographer, and she's been capturing experiences of social unrest. She's here with us. I get to chat with her to talk about her latest project called Resist. All right. So Shea, please tell us about yourself and the work that you're doing and what you'll be focusing on today.
Okay, sure. Well, I'm originally from the Caribbean, and I've lived in Wisconsin for about 20 years now. God, that's so long. I started this project in 2016, and it's been progressing. The first print of the book was in 2017, and that's kind of what we'll be focusing on today. I did cover a certain area of Wisconsin. I did Milwaukee and Green Bay, Appleton. So all those areas are included in the book. So you might see yourself in it. Who knows?
Wow, okay. So 2017, at that time, who was your initial intended audience for the piece?
My initial intended audience was anyone who followed the movement, right? And who actually was keeping tabs on it or participating in any way by making signs or going out on the streets and voicing their opinion and their beliefs and all that stuff. So that was my intended audience at that time.
So when you say the movement, could you define what that was, or as you kind of determine which demonstrations were a part of that movement?
Well, there were so many things going on then as there are now. Yeah. So I focused a lot on I covered women's rights. I covered Latino immigrants' rights as well, and then non-binary, gender, queer folk. We did, we as in me, myself, and I. Did also
the royal we.
Yeah,
we
right.
Yeah,
right,
we.
right. And I did the pipeline, the Dakota pipeline, which was
Okay.
a huge issue back then. So I covered as many protests as I possibly could, being a full-time employee at the time, and having to drive out to these places myself with 2 cameras, all kinds of gear on me, and just literally like running up and down protest march and trying to get as much of these wonderful people as I possibly could during that time.
Thank you. Because I wanted to make sure that we connected with our audience, social justice through your lens, in like figuratively and quite literally your lens of, throughout the Midwest as you've gone out. And so you mentioned you were working full time and doing a lot of this on your own, taking the initiative to capture these moments that felt big and important. Sounds like a kind of a personal project, not something you were tasked with.
Yes.
So whatever you're willing to share about what this has been for you.
Well, when the turmoil, I'll call it turmoil, started, or the reasons why we gathered on the streets took place, I felt the call to give something back, to portray what I could, or take what I could to help the movement and to help bring out voices or elevate voices, that were being unheard. So, I'm not much of a chanter. I'm not much of an organizer. So I felt that my what I could give back was my lens and my ability to capture images and relate to people on that level, and being conspicuous and stealthy and all that stuff. So using what I got, I went out and I started just capturing things and really trying to get people to, it's not hard to relate to these people. Obviously it's a personal, being a woman and being a woman of color, is a personal thing for me. And I had to make sure that I was able to go out there and gather all this information, put it in a way that people could see it, and then open those doors of empathy for others.
Did you know it was going to be a book, or did it just was it a compulsion just to go and capture as you would as a professional photographer, or what was the plan for it? Because it seems to evolve over time for you.
Absolutely. I did not intend it to be a book. I did not. I just wanted to go out there and capture as many people as I could, and as many voices as I could. And as I was going throughout, I edited them all kind of similarly in a photojournalistic way, and I was like, man, this is just really cool. I bet that all together it would make a really a bigger impact than just individual images here and there. So I put 88 pages together, all with different images. And then not only did I put images together, but I also talked to the organizers and got, words from them and added them to the book as to why are they organizing these things? What do they need to say? What is it so important about this that we need to get it out there on the streets? So after all that, I think it turned out to be a really cool project that is cohesive in all the images and in the content of words and stuff, because people can see not just the images, but also why are we doing this, which was super important to me, I think.
Are you finding that it was complete, like it was something, and then kind of like are moving on, or is there any way that this continues to?
Yeah, there's no such thing as completion. Right. No, it's actually it's a work in progress. I feel as long as there is a division, there will be work to be done. So I will continue working and using my lens as a way to kind of showcase the minority and the unheard, and just kind of bring that out. So, and I feel like it's actually, in 12 years that I've been a photographer, it is my most prolific work. I feel so closely to this work. It is the most important thing I've ever put out there. So I just feel like it's important for me to say it, So.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing this. So we had talked in an earlier conversation, And you mentioned, I just loved what you said, so I wrote it down, that the arts open the doors of empathy and how they lend a sense of human connection in a unique way. And it's really unique when you hold it against the other disciplines when we talk about STEAM, so science, technology, engineering, the arts, and mathematics. And so can you highlight for us the importance of that unique trait to the arts in the context of social justice?
Well, as an artist, my main goal as an artist is to move the viewer. The movement can be in any way, right? They could be disgusted by it. They could be moved to tears. They could be, it can enrage them. So I feel that art has a way of touching the senses in a way that math doesn't do or technology doesn't do. It just opens the door to put yourself in a position of what's inside the frame, particularly for me because I'm a photographer. So opening that door, it reaches a path that is not reachable by any other means, and it lets the viewer put themselves in the position of the subject, which can help a lot. With social justice, I feel like we have to do whatever we can to open that door. There's not a lot of empathy when it comes to discrimination, whether it's racial or gender biased or whatever the case may be. So doing that, opening that door, actually may change somebody's mind. When you argue so many times with people, you can bring in facts over facts over facts over facts, and people may not see it.
Yes.
But when you put it in a context of like, this could be you, these people are just like you. The only difference is either the gender or the color of their skin, whatever the case may be. I think that helps break through those barriers, and it helps people understand a little bit better, in my opinion. So
yes,
yeah,
that movement and being moved that your work tries to do, and that you try to do through your work.
Right.
Can you think of any examples of it being really uncomfortable, like maybe you viewing discomfort in someone else? Because so many things about social justice and so many components of it end up being really uncomfortable for people because it's a very human issue, and we can't like rationalize it very easily. You can't defend injustice, very easily. And so I guess all of that to say, have you seen people in that really uncomfortable space? They end up in that uncomfortable space because of the work that you're providing, or I've shown this work around town in several occasions, and this is one of my favorite images, by the way. Powerful, just the way she's looking into the camera. I was taken away. But I've seen people stand in front of the images and just really contemplate and really look at them, and really look at them, and just stand there for about 5-10 minutes. Don't know what's going on through their head, but you can see it. You can see it in their face. You can go, oh, they're feeling something, whether it's, empathy, and if it is disgust, then, you have to wonder why. But you can see it, and that's the point that you try to get across with art, in my opinion, right? I don't know that I would try to change anybody's mind. I would hope that the work would do that on its own. I don't think that I would approach people if I see someone and go, oh my God, Right.
I would just let them stay with that, and maybe another image will hit them differently. Maybe another work of art that's not particularly coming from me, from another artist, might hit them differently. But you just let the work do what it does, and then stay in there, and maybe over time, who knows? But yeah.
Thank you.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes so much sense. I love that, and I feel like that's such a humble way to hold your own work, because you're talking about, there might be something in this that moves them, but you see and you understand your work as a part of a whole culture and way that we're thinking about these things and looking through this lens of social justice, and that's a really beautiful, generous, and humble way, I think, to to offer your work into the world. So
Yeah.
we're all, I think that we're all made more whole because of this kind of work, a lot because of the human element, and it's not something we all can do. So as you say, you're not the organizer necessarily, or the person marching on the front with the calls, but
right. And I would hope that if someone, for example, this image, which I have a couple of images that are my favorite images from the whole project, but this image to me is beyond words. It's just so powerful. The way she's standing there strong, looking into the camera, holding her sign. It's just, I would hope that whoever looks at this image can see, you know, all of that, and can see the resilience of a person who's probably been yelled at, called names, you know, and if she's still there standing strong. So images like this, I've never made another image like this. Every image is different, you know. I mean, when you see through the lens, every image has its own valor and has its own strengths and weaknesses. And this image is just everything that is of my work and in the movement, to me, is this image. You know, so I would hope that when somebody looks at that hits them differently than anything else. I don't know.
Gosh. So we kind of talked about what comes from witnessing work like this, and so do you have a call to action that you'd like to share? I want people, if anybody is feeling the need to do something, I feel like you have to look at within yourself and say, what can I bring, you know, to this movement, essentially to myself, because I did something because I felt the need. I don't want to cry. I felt the need to have to do something. Yeah.
So if anybody feels that way, just look at yourself and see what is your strength that you can bring to the table, right? And then just do that. And then if it's making signs, then make signs. If it's start a GoFundMe, you know, or, you know, go to a protest, whatever you need to do to help the movement, to make your voice be heard, to help those whose voice cannot be heard, to speak for those who cannot speak for themselves, you know. Do it, you know, just go out there and do it. Don't hesitate, don't think about it, just do it. And you'll feel better about yourself, you'll feel better about, you know, this world, because it's so important that we take the negative and turn it into a positive. You know, I mean, so many people out there are just sad, and you know, because of the situations that are taking place right now. And this was a way for me to help myself feel better and to give something back, right? So just do it. Just go out there and do it. Do what you can.
Gosh, that feels so good. Such a nice, easy, because these things are heavy, and just as a call to action, just to try, to do something, whatever that it comes from you naturally. So where can we find Resist?
Well, I think, let's see. This is just going so fast. Let's see, I just want to go back a little bit. You can find this book. I think we're nearing the end here. There we go. You can find this book. I self-published this book. It's out on blurb.com. The link is right there, and I will have you guys also put the link in there. It is, if you want to check it out first, it is at the Menasha Library, so you can go and check it out in the Menasha Library and take a peek at it, or you can order your copy. That's fine. Half of the proceeds, and I did that back then, and I'm going to do that now, half of the proceeds are going to Planned Parenthood. So whatever gets taken from this book, I'm donating half, because that's another way that I can help. So, yeah.
Thank you so much for being here and spending this time with us, sharing this beautiful personal work, but one that's personal to so many.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. I really do appreciate it, and it's not over, so we'll just keep going.
Thank you.
Thank you. How did that look okay? Okay, cool.
That was awesome.
Yeah, great. I'm glad I held it together, girl.